Welcome back to another video. This time it's about what I do in the processes of my lead. So I've got a bunch of bits and pieces out that I use here. I'm just going to go through with you, let you know there's a few people asked how I do it, what I do and so. So here we go. Basically I do all my melting of ingots, which that's for my ingots. All scrap lead, rolls of pure lead. I go to the scrap yard and get lead and also buy it at the builders merchants as well, getting small rolls of it. We do all the mixing in there, and that is my production pot for the moulds. I'll go through them in a minute, but that only gets a certain mix inside it, and that has everything, so that's my workhorse really. I use a clean tray, degreased, to put the slugs in when I've moulded them. I've got an old tray here to put the dross out of there in, because what we do when we're mixing the lead, we flux it. I use wax, a tiny little pea amount of wax, something like that, and I'll drop that in with a full load. It'll be about 9 to 10 pounds in there. When I'm mixing for this pot, what I'll do, I use about 500 grams of pewter tin, that stuff, and pure lead ingots. And what I'll do is I'll put 9 of these in there with 500 grams of pewter tin, which gives us a lovely mix for these slugs. They come out. So what I do then is I put that all into ingots, so I make about 10 ingots of that mix, which is the 10 pounds of lead with 500 grams of tin. Once these ingots come out, they look like this, little frosted little bars. And then what I do with these is every 10 pounds of lead I use in my production pot gets one of these, and that's the perfect mix I've found for making slugs that come out like mirrors. They're lovely looking things. Give you an example. They come out looking like that, where all the driving bands are perfect. They're really nice looking, there's no defects whatsoever. It makes a lovely mix. So that's the mix that I use. So that's 10 pounds of lead, pure lead, with 500 grams of pewter tin, and that's the mix that I use. If I have a lot of big chunks of lead, I have a cast iron skillet. For mixing the lead and the wax, whenever we flux that, every time you put something in there, it gets fluxed. Basically everything comes to, you put your little pea size of wax in, you give it a good mix round, then you scrape off all the top, and then you drop it in this tray here. It cools down rather sharpish, but we leave it outside for a few hours and then it goes in the bin. Right, so that's the mix side of it. Now these are, when I first started out with lead and making slugs, I use this thing which is the RCBS lead dipper, and basically in the cast iron skillet you'd fill that up, hover it over your mould, pour it into your mould, the old school way of doing it, but when I first started that's all I had. Now to go on some of the moulds that I use. We've got, everyone will know this one, it's the 7/8 ounce Lee key drive slug mould. I've got 3 of them, 2 ounce ones, just in case one ever rusts. I thought I've got to get another one of these. So I got 2 of them, a 7/8 ounce mould as well. I've got a buckshot mould, which is, I think this is double O buck, this one. What else we've got? We've got the Savarog moulds, we've got the hydrant slug, the Italian, the Zero Boy, the monolith. There's a Lyman mould here as well, very old school, very high quality moulds, but again I don't use these anymore really. It's all the Russian moulds. The most used one is the Italian, which is this one. You get a few different core pins with it, but again we only use that because it has the proprietary wad, and when the wad's with it makes it more accurate. Accuracy is what we've always been striving for, so that's what we use. So there's lots of different moulds, lots of different things you can do. I've got round ball mould as well. that you just clamp together, put that underneath your pourer, lift that, fill it up, get a good screw on the top, open it up, and you've got some lovely little perfect round balls. Again, there's no accuracy really with the round ball stuff either, so we don't make them anymore. When I'm talking about accuracy, this is from Sunday. That was 15 shots at 100 yards, just messing about with the hydrant slug. And again, it's one of my favourite slugs, as well as the Zero Boy and the Monolith. They're brilliant slugs, but the Italian, you're getting that at 100 yards. I mean, that's good enough for me. That really does work. I mean, it really does the trick. So when I get into that stage, I go into the powder coating side of things there. I powder coat absolutely everything now, but that's another video for another day, because that's again another process that I'll show you going through, and bits and pieces like that. I've got to remind you, always have your gloves. You're supposed to have goggles as well, but and a mask, but I do it outside, and I do put goggles on when I'm mixing, but not so much on this side of it, because there's nothing bubbling away or anything like that in there. I'm sat well back, and it's all done safely anyway. I've been doing it for this many years, and I've just burnt my fingertips. So that's a little insight into some of my lead production gear. I hope it was interesting. Again, any comments, just leave them in the comment section, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much. See you soon.